Thank you for being here. My name is Ed Zerker. I'm the city manager. I want to welcome you to this budget hearing at the Neighborhood Resource Center at 24th Street and Broadway, and in the heart of South Mountain Village and South Phoenix Village too. So we are pleased to be here. This is the third week of our budget hearings, where we bring out the proposals we have for how to spend the money the city has on things that we want to hear from the community about. Before I go any further, I'd like to introduce our interpreter, Carmen. If she'd just introduce yourself. We're pleased to be here in District 8 with Councilwoman Mendoza. Just a couple of housekeeping items, and then I'll turn it over to the Councilwoman. We ask you to pick up a budget pamphlet to get as much detail as we have in here. We're going to have a video in just a minute that has as much detail as we can give you in 8 minutes, but there is more detail in here and even more detail online at phoenix.gov/budget. I want to thank our city staff for joining us here this evening. They are here to answer specific questions, but also to hear what it is you have to say about what's going on with the city. In our budget hearings, we often hear very, very specific things for neighborhoods that we are able to address, and we hear things that are very general about the budget, and we do these so that we can hear it all. So thank you for being here to do that. If you'd like to speak, we'd ask you to fill out a card here so that we know who you are to call your name, and when you speak, we'd ask you to come up here to the microphone so that everyone can see and hear you, and also so that the Phoenix TV crew can capture you. This hearing is played again and is available on the our city YouTube channel, which I learned today just got its 1 millionth view, which in YouTube terms is not a whole lot, but in city terms is a whole bunch. So we'll take it. We'll take the first million and look for the next one. So with that, we will move to hear about the budget from the video presentation. But before that, I'll turn the microphone over to our host for the evening, Councilwoman Mendoza, who is our district councilwoman for District 8, and we're sitting here in the heart of District 8. So thank you, Councilwoman Mendoza.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Your feedback is very important. It helps us reallocate some of our money into things that are a priority to all of you. So thank you for being here, and we can start the video now. Thank you.
Welcome to your first look at the City of Phoenix trial budget for 2019-20, proposed by the city manager for public review and comment. The city budget is about people and programs for a stronger Phoenix. Every year, the city prepares a trial budget. This process gives you, our residents, an opportunity to share your priorities and feedback on how tax dollars are spent. 3 important points about this year's budget. It is balanced, which is required by law, and there is a surplus to allocate toward people and programs. Also, for the first time since the recession, ongoing revenues are equal to ongoing costs. We have a nearly $1.4 billion structurally balanced general fund budget thanks to Phoenix's continued strong economy and sound leadership by the mayor and city council. These efforts have led to a projected surplus of $55 million, of which $35 million is in ongoing resources and $20 million is in one-time resources. Over the next several minutes, we'll provide you a high-level view of the recommendations for how that surplus could be spent. Approximately 70% of the surplus is proposed for employee compensation, and the remaining 30% is proposed for services. And $5.5 million to continue investing in the Public Safety Pension Reserve Trust Fund to protect against unexpected downturns in investments. The 2019-20 trial budget continues to provide the core services residents expect. Chief among these is public safety. In addition, many recommendations are focused on improving neighborhoods, parks, libraries, support for outreach and services for people experiencing homelessness, additional street landscape maintenance, and preparations for the 2020 census. The city also continues to invest in maintaining the facilities you depend on and the fleet of vehicles that provide you everything from police response to street cleanups. Besides these proposals, we'll highlight expenditures that help the city address growth in construction and maintain the city's wastewater infrastructure. First, general fund recommendations. The general fund is made up of several different sources of revenue, including sales taxes, state shared revenue, and property taxes. 3/4 of the general fund pays for police, fire, and courts, with a smaller portion, the remaining 25%, going for everything else, like libraries, parks, senior services, arts, and administrative and support functions. The primary focus of the general fund service additions is public safety across a wide array of departments. Here are some of the proposals. 8 new firefighter positions to provide 24-hour operations at Fire Station 55 at I-17 and Jomax Road in North Phoenix. Add funding for 7 sworn fire positions, creating a new ambulance rescue unit at Fire Station 58 to improve emergency response times in Southwest Phoenix. The creation of 1 new fire department crisis intervention unit, and in the police department, de-escalation training and community response services support for officer-involved shootings. These recommendations are based on public feedback from last year's budget process and the city's Traumatic Incident Intervention Resources Ad Hoc Committee. Another key area of public safety funding is focused on improving police support processes, using civilian staff to free up police officers' valuable time for calls and service. First, the addition of 10 civilian positions to support a federally mandated transition to the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting National Incident-Based Reporting System. And second, the addition of 13 positions to streamline police booking procedures and create 2 new centralized booking centers to get officers back on the street faster. The trial budget also provides funding for increased inspection capacity to ensure buildings are meeting fire safety codes. Other public safety allocations: public defender representation for veterans and individuals with mental illness. In Human Services, add a caseworker and a vehicle to provide mobile victim advocacy. Security guard staffing at every library. Technology funding for cybersecurity to protect the city's infrastructure. In all, the trial budget proposes spending an additional $6.5 million on these and other public safety additions. Now, let's look at where you live, investments in programs to strengthen neighborhoods. First, the budget would allocate approximately $1 million to add staff to work with neighborhood groups, to clean up blight, work with nearby businesses, and improve response times for neighborhood issues. Parks and Recreation would see 8 new park ranger positions to increase patrol coverage at neighborhood and urban parks for a cost of about $1.1 million. Street Transportation and Public Works would support neighborhoods by transitioning staff from a temporary to permanent status to clean up encampments and washes and right-of-way for a cost of $970,000. Historic Preservation would also get $75,000 to support historic property preservation. In all, neighborhood revitalization would see an additional $3.5 million in funding. Next, Community Services additions restore some desired programs to strengthen the community and expand other resident requests, including restoration of Sunday library hours at 4 branches means all libraries will be open to provide greater access to in-demand books, movies, classes, and programs for library patrons of all ages. Expand the Phoenix Teens program for youth at 10 city sites, providing youth programs 6 days per week at a cost of $448,000. Providing case management assistance for homeless seniors and grant funding for arts organizations for youth and underserved communities would also be included. The budget would also add $1.3 million for long-standing street landscape maintenance needs, increasing frequency of maintenance from 3 to 4 times per year. New this year, a proposal to allocate funding to implement participatory budgeting or other projects in City Council districts. Lastly, the city will invest in outreach to encourage residents to take part in the 2020 census. Given the move to digital form submission this census, the additional funds will help to ensure hard-to-count and hard-to-reach populations participate, so that Phoenix gets its fair share of the approximately $866 million in annual revenues allocated through federal programs for public safety, transportation, housing, and human services. Overall, added general fund expenditures outlined in the trial budget total $55.2 million and would add 131 positions to strengthen our people, programs, services, and infrastructure. Moving on to propose non-general fund additions for a variety of services. Strengthening our street transportation department with 11 positions added or converted to full-time for a variety of services to support increasing work in the right-of-way and the recently expanded street maintenance funding in the Capital Improvement Program budget, $768,000. Water Services will see 21 positions and approximately $2.9 million in funding to keep up with demand at the department's 91st Avenue treatment site, the state's largest. The site is currently treating 180 million gallons of water a day for more than 2.5 million residents in 5 cities. Finally, 19 positions for planning and development to address increasing construction demand, including reduction of turnaround times for pre-application submittals and complex commercial architectural plans. Added staff to ensure adherence to fire system requirements and ADA accessibility codes, and to maintain a 24-hour turnaround time for residential inspections. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about the 2019-20 trial budget. We hope that you'll review additional details in the budget pamphlet available at one of our 19 community budget hearings and online at phoenix.gov/budget. Please share your feedback in whatever way works best for you, at a public meeting or via email at budget.research@phoenix.gov. You can comment on the city's social media at City of Phoenix AZ on Facebook or Twitter and use #PhoenixBudget, or call us at 602-262-4800. Thank you for being part of this important process.
All right, so we're going to start with our first speaker, and it's going to be 3 minutes max. So let's start with Craig Tripkin.
Thank you, Councilwoman and Mr. Zerker. I'm here representing Central Arizona Shelter Services, as you probably know by now, and I want to tell you 3 things quickly. Number 1, CAS has done its part this year. We have increased our contributions from other cities, which I know is important to the council, by 53% this year. We've fundraised, we've raised over $500,000, which is more than what we get from the city, or more than half of what we get from the city of Phoenix. And that's a 73% increase. We've purchased a building, or we're in the process of purchasing a building in Glendale, so we can regionalize services out there. We'll have a West Side, we have, and through a grant, a West Side navigator and a senior case management specialist. We are facing some unavoidable costs that we cannot control. One of them is cuts from the Valley of the Sun United Way. They're cutting everybody across the board, and we're facing that. It's about a 30% cut, which is about $236,000. We're looking at minimum wage increases and benefits for employees, which comes out to about $110,000. And we're looking at campus rent, which is unfortunate, but the campus needs to recover some of its common area charges for the campus. And right now, we think we're being optimistic to say that's a $200,000 number. Totals out $516,000. Okay, future next year, we're going to have more seniors programs. We're going to open up the Glendale building. We're going to set aside, we're working right now to set aside some bodies with the hospitals, some beds with the hospitals, so we can take medically frail people, and they're not just being released from the hospital on the streets. That's very, very important. We're working on a senior shelter, and many of you know that. My main point, other than saying, please, we need more money, and we, I think, have earned our way to that, is to say that we'd like the city to pick up half of our cost increases, which is $258,000. I have a visual aid. We will privately raise the other half. And lastly, something which is a little bit in the weeds, but is going to be very important that we look at it. Cass is working in a lot of innovative new ways to do things. If we keep doing what we've done, we're going to get what we got. And so we believe that many things, there's been a lot of talk of a senior shelter. When we set aside these beds for hospitals, we're not going to get reimbursed by the city for hospital beds or for construction of new bathrooms, accessible bathrooms, or whatever it is. We need to do those things. And if we're going to be innovative and nimble and really work to change and be successful on things in the future, we really need to amend our city contract, quite frankly. Right now, it's a very strict cost reimbursement system, which is really based on a 5-year-old model from when we first signed the contract. We have a case manager, and that manager, we get reimbursed for that case manager. Well, we need to be able to expand the boundaries of what we're doing, and that's very important to us at this point, because again, if we're going to be innovative and agile and find new ways of addressing this problem, we're going to have to, we need the funding to do it, quite frankly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tripkin. Larry Martin.
Good evening. Thank you for listening to me. My name is Larry Martin. I'm president-elect of the Public Grandin Museum Auxiliary. I have discovered over the years that most people don't know who we are. Matter of fact, most people don't even know where Pueblo Grande Museum is. For those people who don't know, it's on the corner of 44th Street and Washington. The museum has been there since 1929. The site has been there since 450 AD. So it's been there for a while. So it's not too difficult to know where it's at. The reason I'm here tonight is that the museum was originally renovated in about the 1970s. It hasn't really been well updated over the years. And because of the recession, it lost about 2/3 of its staff. Therefore, it's in danger of losing its accreditation as a museum. So we need more people, and therefore we need more money. So we're asking the city to do two things. One, the auxiliary has raised $20,000, of which takes us several years to get because we've only got about 200 members. And we're going to match that money to whatever the city will donate to the museum this year for working on the trails and signs and other infrastructure that needs to be worked on. On top of that, we were asking the city to raise the budget for the museum about $500,000 so that they can hire new full-time employees so that the museum is not running on like one person at the front desk 7 days a week. This just can't continue to continue on. So therefore, thank you very much for listening to me.
Mr. Joseph Benesh.
I heard him say 3 minutes. I feel like it's 2 in the past, so I have a theater background, so I might have time for a monologue, if that's okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Mendoza and City Manager Ed Zirk. Thank you for all the work that you do. Managing this many people we know is an impossible and often thankless job. So thank you for trying to balance what you do with the needs of everybody, especially when we're in conflict with each other. Thankfully, I work in the arts, so there's not as much conflict. I think most people that I know, although it might be my circles, believe that the arts and culture are important in communities. So when we get money from the city and the state and the feds sometimes, I can tell you that we are very frugal with our money. Arts organizations, many of us are nonprofits, which means we have to send out regular reports to funders and donors. So we have a lot of eyes on us all the time, and I'm happy to say that we're very frugal and creative with our money. In District 8, which is where I live and have lived for a long time, you have Black Theater Troupe, Phoenix Theater, Phoenix Opera, Arizona Opera, Ballet Arizona, Rising Youth Theater, the Phoenix Art Museum, and the Children's Museum of Phoenix. And what we're good at is we're kind of good at everything. It might sound a little bit of boasting, but the arts, as we know, create jobs and contribute to a strong economy. The arts are one of the top 3 things CEOs look for when they're trying to move companies. I sit on the board of the Phoenix Chamber of Commerce, and I can confirm that from firsthand conversations. The arts, as we know, beautify cities, and Phoenix has really, for a long time, had an up-and-coming mural scene. You drive around and see murals in alleyways, on the sides of buildings, and I think that makes a city a little more beautiful and a better place to live. The arts also, this is something that's not talked about very often. The arts really contribute to public safety. Many of us offer free or reduced fee programs for kids. And so kids after school, as we know, are going to stay busy doing something. And a lot of us, including where I work, Phoenix Center for the Arts, and a lot of the programs the Phoenix Office of Arts and Culture supports, we're keeping kids off the street. We're keeping kids active. We're helping them with their imaginations and their time. So I just want to remind everybody the arts also contribute to public safety in that way. And of course, in just giving people a purpose and helping them feel connected to their city. And the arts contribute to education, of course. The arts are not a silver bullet in education, but they're a cornerstone of it. If we don't have creativity in our education, in our schools, then why are we doing it? And I can tell you a story. I'm not sure of my time. Do I have time for a quick story? All right. We taught the Artmobile was at a community center, and we were teaching creative writing, and one of the 4-year-olds grabbed the teacher afterwards, and he said, "I didn't know I could write." He'd been struggling in school with grammar and syntax in the English language, which is kind of messed up. But given a creative writing moment, being able to enjoy writing, in 4th grade, he realized that he could write. That's the kind of things that we do. Thank you for the extra money in the budget. We'll make good use of it.
Thank you, Mr. Benesh. Chris Palmer?
Good evening. I'm Chris Palmer. I'm from the Garfield neighborhood here in District 8, and I'm here to talk about 13th Street. And I'm hoping the big kids at the front of the class, you guys have already heard this speech, right? Okay, then I can keep it brief. At a high level, just so everybody's on the same kind of page, 13th Street, there's about a mile stretch from Van Buren up to Moreland Street, and we've been asking for over a decade to really kind of finish that street. Right now, it's a thin strip of asphalt that is there, goes down, and it has a sidewalk on both sides, and there's dirt in between all of that. There's no gutters or drainage. And so that leads to a lot of problems. Of course, when it rains, lots of flooding builds up and the uneven dips, goes right into people's yards if they're lucky. When they're not lucky, it goes into their houses. My other neighbors park on the city streets and get ticketed by the city police because the city streets are not dust-proof because they're dirt. And the worst of it is that Garfield Elementary School sits with its main entrance on 13th Street. I think that's over 600 kids a day who are walking out there, and they're very clearly seeing the message we've chosen to send them about what we're going to invest in our neighborhood and their neighborhood. So we're hoping to change that, and I actually feel like we've been coming to a number of these conversations, and it's gone really well. We've heard feedback. We felt like there's been a conversation, which we really appreciate. My understanding is that things have changed in just a couple of weeks, where before we were going to do another planning situation and kind of kick the can down the road a couple of years. It sounds like now maybe we're going to use the last site plan, the last estimates that were done, and try to come up with a design this year, which would be great. So I want to say thank you. We really appreciate it as a neighborhood. And I also wanted to ask, I suspect it's going to cost some money when the design is done. Is that going to come out of this year's budget, or how's that going to work?
Thanks, Chris. So yeah, to first say, our streets department has gone back and they're going to take the design. It's currently at 30% design. They're going to take it to 100% design. When that's done, then they can have a better estimate of what it would cost, and it would come from our capital funding and the capital improvement program. So it would be likely in the next year's, which would be 14 months from now, capital budget, but it'll take a little bit of time to get the design done anyway. So it gives us some time to look for that funding for the construction piece of it sometime in the next 5-year capital improvement program. But the first step is to get the design completely done, and that's what's going to happen now.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out.
Steve Shoemaker?
Thank you, Councilwoman Mendoza. Thank you, City Manager Zerker. Well, first of all, let me say thank you specifically to Councilwoman Mendoza. She's been instrumental in helping me and a group of volunteers I represent get a historic marker replaced at 28th Street in Van Buren that unfortunately was knocked over about 15 years ago. So thank you for your help. We're still moving along on that process. But I represent a group of volunteers who, first of all, are very thankful that the city is continuing to put money into the budget for historic preservation. Our focus as citizens is we don't have a lot of influence over the different ordinances and laws and tax credits and that kind of thing. But what we've recognized is that there is a glaring omission in terms of changing the historic preservation culture in the city of Phoenix based around education and awareness. And that's what we're focusing on, is the education and awareness of Phoenix city history, the various historic sites around the valley, and bringing those more to the forefront of people's consciousness. Because we found that when people are more conscious of what the historic areas are, they tend to preserve them a little longer and they're not so quick to have them knocked down. Now, about 2 months ago, thankfully, Mayor Williams signed a proclamation making the month of March Phoenix Pioneers Month, and we're very grateful to her for having done that. And this has provided us a springboard to do more education awareness. I see Nicole Armstrong-Best from Pueblo Grande sitting there. I've been working with her and trying to get some of this going as well. So what I would request is that some of the money for the next year's budget be set aside and allocated specifically for setting up some curriculum in the schools for our children, doing some videos, doing some cultural awareness for our population, city employees, and that kind of thing. So I appreciate your time. I just noticed on the flyer that you handed out, I would hope that the picture of the kids next year on this show them with some Phoenix history education in the background as well. So thank you for your time.
Frank Grenier?
Well, thank you very much for hosting this. I'm a volunteer at the Pueblo Grande Museum. And I can just add a little bit to the remarks of the head of the auxiliary. Pueblo Grande is an amazing place. It's a monument, actually it's a mound that was built by the Hohokam, the prehistoric culture that lived here, and that basically gave our city its name, Phoenix. It was thought originally that one of the original pioneers, Jack Swilling, they would name it after him, so we'd be Swillingtown. If it wasn't for that, we'd be Pumpkinville. So if you thought the Suns had a bad season this year, if they were the Pumpkinville Suns, who would watch them? But Phoenix was a city, a town, a community that rose from the ruins of Hohokam society. We work hard to educate children. Certainly, I think Title I schools come here. We give them tours. They practice crafts. But we've lost 3 positions because they're only part-time positions, and very few adults who have families, who have other responsibilities, can survive on a part-time salary. And I can tell you that the people who left didn't go to a Fortune 500 company or a growth industry. One of them went to the Arizona Museum of Natural History, another went to the Botanical Gardens, and a third went to the Phoenix Art Museum. And they were all terrific and all loved Pueblo Grande and did a great job. And were an inspiration for us as volunteers. So that's a loss that we can't get back. But if the city would be so kind as to consider converting these part-time positions to full-time positions, culturally, you get it back double. And plus, it's pretty expensive to just continually replace and train. So, as you know, about 1.5 to 2 times the salary of the previous employees. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Stephen Baines.
Hello, I'm Stephen Baines with an organization called Fulfillment and Training, and we are stationed right now at South Mountain High School, and what we are is a community development program, and we use fitness as a tool to bridge the gap between PD and community, well, first responders and community, because we realize that there's a huge misunderstanding in a lot of communities that there is no need for the police, and then the police feel that there is a huge understanding that the police isn't wanted. So the goal is to find the people in those communities that are willing to work together to address those things, but a way we do it is we use fitness as a tool. So we work out 3 times a week, and we consistently have about 60 people 3 times a week working out between probation officers, police officers, judges, other city individuals, and we do other events to work together, because not only do we want to work on building and being healthy, because we all know that once we feel better, we're able to do better, to do more things, but we also want to go out and impact the community in a positive way. So we've done projects like Feed My Starving Children. We've went out and addressed homelessness and people on the street by working with the police to get them services right away. We just held a free fitness camp with the UFC gym. We partnered with the UFC and held a huge free camp for anyone to come out and to try other activities and things that are different, just to keep giving opportunities to communities who normally don't have those opportunities. But ask is, one, we know that we are new, so funding is something that we look into, and then a facility. Our reach is only so big because we are partnering with the high school. My previous employment, I was the mental health liaison with the prosecutor's office, so through that, the county has talked to me about creating a diversion program, because that's what I would do, but we would work with 14 and 18-year-olds, and I'm limited on things that we can do and other ways to positively impact the community because of our space in the facility. South Mountain has been an amazing host, and we wouldn't be nowhere where we are without them, but to grow and continue to provide and be a better resource to the community, we would need some other things, but also just to be here to make it known that we are available to the community, and we want to continue to grow to be a one-stop holistic community health and wellness organization. So, thank you.
Mr. Raul Daniels.
Thank you, Councilwoman Mendoza and City Manager Zucker. I'm here basically to speak on behalf of the special needs community. I myself am a 16-year-old daughter who has hydrocephalus, seizure disorder, and cerebral palsy. I used to be a city employee, and I retired to care for her because it was just overwhelming. It's raising special needs child, so like a job and a half, not 2 jobs, if you ever had to do that before. She's had over 20 brain surgeries before she was even 7 years old. The young lady who was here last week speaking in Levine, she was supposed to speak here tonight, but her son had brain surgery right before that presentation, He was in ER last night, so she couldn't attend tonight. So I'm going to present the data. She's a board member for the Roosevelt Elementary School District. There's lots of special needs kids here in South Phoenix and Laveen. Laveen numbers indicate there's 1,114 special needs kids, just K through 8th grade in Laveen. There's another 500 that go to Fairfax and Cesar Chavez High School. There's 1,737 kids in the Roosevelt Elementary School District. There's special needs. That's only 2,000 kids, 2,000 kids almost, just elementary age. And there's another 500 that go to South Mountain High School. So that's almost about 3,500 special needs kids between Laveen and South Phoenix area. There's no programs for us. I've heard some folks asking for monies for their programs. We're never served by any of you all. A lot of our folks, our kids live in isolation. There's no place to go, nothing to do, because no one can relate to these kids. I used to work from Parks and Rec, so I know. I went from Parks and Rec to complete isolation raising my child, so it's very frustrating. What we'd like to see, and one of the things I noticed in the budget was the neighborhood engagement specialists or programs. We could sure use one of those to benefit our kids, our population. We'd also like you to consider funding a full-time therapeutic recreation coordinator, support staff and supplies, and base them out of the new community center that will be built in about 3 years from now. Short term, we could sure use even a weekly program out in the Laveen community. I bet South Phoenix want one too. It's very cheap. You guys have an excess funding here. It only costs about $2,000 for 1 day a week for 2 hours. We did that before in Laveen between a partnership with the school district and Parks and Rec, and it went great. We went from 7 kids the first year to over 30 the second. Also like to know if I can have the contact number for the Friends of the Library. She approached me after the last presentation of Eden and said they'd offer up the library as a place to provide some of those special needs activities if we can get that $2,000 from you guys. Last, we're also asking the city collaborate with agencies that know how to service special needs kids. There's several of them out there. Unfortunately, again, most of us parents are driving 15 to 20 miles to get services because there's nothing out here. You're going to have a brand new center built. You guys provide the building, they provide the special staff, and it's a win-win for all of us. Anyway, I thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Raul. I think there's someone here from our library department. Yeah, they'll get you connected with the Friends of the Library, Laveen, Cesar Chavez branch information. Thank you.
James Grizzard.
How's everybody doing? My name is James, and I'm speaking on behalf of FIT, also known as Fulfillment and Training, along with Stephen Baines. One of the things that I feel is important in regards to organization that I didn't feel that he touched on, that is imperative, is that one of the purposes is we're taking individuals who may be troubled, who may have a troubled home or their situation is the best, and we're providing them with an environment that's positive. He mentioned earlier that some of the people that we deal with are kids or youth who may not have the best experiences. As a member of this community, when I was younger, we had programs like DARE and GREAT, and when you seen an officer in school, you smiled and you shook his hand and you high-fived him and he was cool. With the way social media is this day and age, we don't see that. We have a different outlook on police. But the thing is, we don't know what they go through. With FIT, we have the opportunity to have PD come in, coach and educate the youth in regards to what they experience. And at the same time, you allow the youth to talk to PD and educate them on what they experience, to have that common ground. I feel this is important for the simple fact that within our community, there's not a lot of that's going on, as I mentioned, like we had previously. So the reason why this program is important is so we can get that relationship again with PD or public, with the public, what's the word I'm looking for? With individuals who are public service and the community as well. I feel that if we focused on that, like Stefan has set forth and what he's implemented, there's a lot of positive change, a lot of positive social change that can happen with the community as well as PD. Thank you.
Rachel Johnson?
Good evening. My name is Rachel Johnson. I serve on the City of Phoenix Arts and Culture Commission. I just want to first thank the city and City Councilwoman, as well as the city manager, for the resources that you have offered the Arts and Culture Office, as well as the city in regards to arts and culture. It has been both in your time. I've seen you both out at different events, whether it was Art Detour or the dedication of the park over here in the South Mountain area, but also the funding that you have graciously funded us in 2018 budget. I want to say thank you, but I would like for you also to keep us in mind as you continue to set up the budget for the upcoming years and the future for the city of Phoenix. On the Arts and Culture Commission, I serve as the chairperson for the Public Art Committee. What we do is we look at, as the commission as a whole, the Arts and Culture Commission, we take a look at all the arts and culture that's happening throughout our city. If you see the transformation that is happening, it's been a cooperative effort between the city officials and the staff that works tirelessly to make sure all of this happens, as well as volunteers like myself. There are changes that are being made at the airport. I don't know if you've seen them, absolutely gorgeous. Terminal 3. There's some changes that are coming up to Terminal 4. We are having world-renowned artists that are coming to the city of Phoenix to display their artwork. I know we worry about our first responders. We have to make sure our police are taken care of and our fire department and our kids are taken care of to make sure they have proper health care and they have education. But my job here tonight is just to say, please don't miss out and forget about arts and culture and the vitality that it brings our city. And whether it's somebody who's 8 years old or somebody who's 88 years old, we all benefit. We have a beautiful city and a super proud city that I'm glad to live in. I'm very proud to live in. But we have a city we can all be proud of. So if you're driving down the freeway and you see this beautiful archway in which you're driving under the freeway, or you happen to be walking by a statue, ask yourself, is this something that the City of Phoenix, the Arts and Culture Department, had some kind of a role in, a mural, any of it, because there's so much that we do on a regular basis, but it does require funding. So therefore, we're asking for funding, whether it's arts education, whether it's grants, or continued advocacy on behalf of the City of Phoenix and all of its residents. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all a pleasant evening.
And that's all the cards we have. Is anybody here who wants to speak, or we missed?
It'd be really nice if you guys could provide a hearing like this for special needs community. I think it's very difficult for us to sit in line and wait because we got kids at home that need medication and so forth. We lost probably a third of our folks want to speak because they didn't want. There's just going so long, they speak that they just take care of the kids. So you can do one for us specifically, so we feel more comfortable. It's very uncomfortable for folks to show up and speak on behalf of the kids. Really, I think you get a large number and it's so much more open to talking about needs for children. Thank you.
All right, we really appreciate your time this evening. I just am inspired every year when I come to budget hearings because regardless of what people are asking for, what they're saying is that they love this city and they love this community and they respect the work the city employees do and they want to be part of it and they would like more of it. And that's really inspiring to all of us who work for the city. So thank you for coming, letting us know your needs, commenting on what it is we're doing, giving us thoughts. I would say, you know, these things often happen over time, that it doesn't often happen in one budget hearing. Things evolve over time. Our folks from the library, for example, have been coming for 5 years, and we've been able to incrementally do some things there. So keep engaging. It does pay off over the long run. So thank you so much for being here, and I will give the final word to our councilwoman from the district, Councilwoman Mendoza.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your feedback, and thank you to the city manager as well. We have a lot of work. He has a lot of work to do here. So thank you so much.